of this book. So now we'll roll over into part two, where we will openly, interact hopefully with each other. You guys have some interesting things to say. I would love to hear from your own perspectives about some of the things you posted. I'll read one of mine. We'll help open dialogue to set the tone, and then you guys can show me where yours are or bring it to the table, share your screen, and we can read yours, and then again continue with the open dialogue. All right. So hope that you guys enjoyed part one. Let's roll over to part two. All right, first, how are you guys feeling about this book so far? Give me your opinion. Was it a good recommendation for the week or what?
Yeah, it's a dope book, bro.
Did
There
anybody
was a
else?
It,
part,
Go ahead.
go on.
There was a part what, Aqua?
I was just gonna say there was a part that spoke about the DNA, and I low key feel like us mixed folks, we help in the DNA of Wotan live on.
I can't wait to hear your presentation for what you found that you vibe with. All right, so let me start with mine. Let's see. I'll start with this because, we in the first part talked about dreams, so maybe I'll go with this one. Why not? Dreams are an important part of our lives, and almost a third of our lives are passed in slumber. It is to our greater advantage to make serious efforts to understand and interpret the messages of our dreams and their symbolism. Remember that everything that exists upon Midgard has its ethereal counterpart. Man is a creature of reflection. He becomes that upon which he reflects. Unfortunately, most people cling to the pleasures and woes of the material world to the exclusion of the subjective realm of spirituality. And so that's why you guys will see me and Scalper make freaking 100, $200,000 in a week, but I don't be driving around in a Lamborghini, you know, because I understand that the important part of this, right, this journey right now is not clinging to the pleasures that the material world can bring. And one day I'll get to that point where I'm comfortable, but where I'm at right now, the the ability to just constantly tap into this knowledge and this information and understand that the attachment to the material world needs to be detached before you can really truly elevate, because there's still a whole bunch of things that you have to let go of as you're, you know, going through your journey to really get to the other side. Because if you, a lot of people think, let me put it this way, that in the very early days of your entrepreneurship career, it's all about the chains and the Lamborghinis and buying stuff because that's how the mainstream media makes it out to be, to entice you to enter into the space like that. But in reality, when you get there and you become, myself and Mr. Aquaman became millionaires almost, I think in the same, if not, I came maybe a year before you, bro, and then you became one right after. I remember you texted me and you were like, "Yo, bro, seven figures today. What's up, G?" Like so
2025, bro.
yeah, yeah. And so, you know, I just really think that if you do this the right way, all of these materialistic things will come because I know they will. All the things that I, you know, want to have based off my wants, I understand that those can be accomplished in the future and that the focus right now is on the inner work and thyself and understanding that through manifestation and patience, those things will come at a specific time. And right now, the focus is on the consistency. The focus is on bringing other people up with me and building a freaking, literally a battalion of armed individuals with knowledge because knowledge is power. And if you look at the CyberX logo, it says knowledge is power, but only when implemented properly. Because everybody says knowledge is power, and that's a great slogan. That's good on a cookie cutter box, but it only becomes powerful when you apply that action behind that knowledge, right? Because you could read a whole entire book, but if you don't practice it, which it's very hard to do, mind you, I'm not perfect, and trust and believe I have my pitfalls and my, you know, things that I got to work on and the days where shit's just not great, right? Because we all have those days, but it's just the consistency of applying this information. So that was what stuck to me. I don't know if you guys want to share one of yours. I had a couple different screenshots, if you guys ever are feeling like a down day and you need something to motivate you too, come in this section. It's another just portion of the community outside of the third eye psychology section that you can just find motivation from that's very, very intense. That'll really get you thinking about things. So, floor's open. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I'll share. Let me share my screen here.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I was lagging. I don't know why that just did that.
Hold on, let's see here. Oh, there we go.
Yo, Cedric's on the call. Man, I'm really bummed out. I was looking more into the Paris Blockchain Week, and I'm like, dude, me and Aqua are definitely gonna pull up next year for sure, bro. I'm talking about suit and tie, nice little Cyprex, little pins, you know, how Ripple always has the pins. We're
Oh
gonna have
yeah, let's
Yeah.
Cyprex,
go.
Cyprex Little Wealth 28 pins, bro. They're gonna be like, who the fuck are these dudes? Yeah.
Nah, they're gonna know who you are
Oh,
for
I know
sure.
they're gonna know who we are. No, I mean like um people that people that don't know about CyberX, but I know that all these institutions and a lot of these, it's so crazy how many people behind the scenes actually know about this community. I was going through who follows the CyberX research channel the other day, and it's pretty interesting the list of people that are in pretty decent position. Like, did you guys know the dude from Swift followed me and reposted one of the CyberX things? Who's the guy from
No
Swift?
shit. From Swift, bro?
Bro, the dude that always speaks at
Tom
conference. Yeah,
something?
Tom. What's his last name?
Something Cesar or something? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Let me
He's
check it.
the same guy that always goes to the Swift conferences and all the blockchain conferences. He's a white dude with a little gray comb over.
Yeah.
Um, bro, him and Jeremy Allaire commented on one of the CyberX posts, and I engaged with them, and then both of them followed me back.
Damn. Damn.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we pulled up to one of these conversations. I know the dude from Blockchain Australia, Sean, you
Yeah.
know, Sean White. I don't know if I'm
All
supposed to
right.
say this, so I'll scrub it out of the recording, but Sean White, literally one of the CyberX researchers, I'm pretty sure is either um a, I don't know what is an apprentice or somebody an intern. That's what they call it in the traditional world. He's an intern right now, I'm pretty sure, for blockchain or XDC Australia.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure.
Damn.
Yeah, so
Well, let me just share this part that I got. So I was just looking right now because I was like, is there more like I kind of identical symbolism in here? So I mean, we're in crypto. We've heard about it, especially myself. I definitely heard about this bearable guy, 123 Riddler, that the XRP community definitely rants and raves about. But when I came into this book and I seen this symbol on this like rock that's like aligned with the sun, the squigglies, and you can see them right here too, these squigglies. I just thought of this picture, and this hammer, as you guys can see, has that same squiggly, like
Yeah,
identical. It's just going the other way, right? I'm not
yeah,
saying I made
the
anything out of
Triskelion.
this. Yeah.
I think that
Um,
represents the sun, like from the Celtic.
That's the origin of the
that's
Ripple logo, if you look at it.
yeah. And then this other symbolism too. I mean, it's not exactly identical like this one is from the book, but where is it at? This symbol right here. I don't know what that symbol really means with any of this, but again, I'm just remembering some of that symbolism. You can see it. There's like a small one right here, and then there's another post from this Riddler. But I just thought that that was really interesting.
that
That it
spiral,
had
bro.
very yeah,
It's called the tri hold on. Let me move my
The Triskelion.
yeah, the Triskelion, and it's Ripple's logo, bro.
it is, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if David Schwartz knows about
Oh, of course he does. It's an
this
ancient
book.
motif. It's an ancient motif, bro. That consists of
Damn.
the spiral. It's Archimedean spirals.
Yeah, that's lit. Let's see here. I'll read part of the passage that I read. I read the chapter on basically death and dreams. And there was another part in here. I don't know, for whatever reason, I got to figure out how to highlight these books. So for future book clubs, I have all my highlights. So I wasn't able to highlight, but so my apologies of not knowing where probably certain things are at in here. But I remember reading in here, and I feel like this is something that all of humanity should know. But for whatever reason, in this culture today, I mean, and even in some countries, if I'm not mistaken, some states will allow you to legally commit, you know, unaliving yourself, right? And this book basically says, I like the way I read it, I was like, yo, like everybody should know that shit, right? But it was basically when you die of a natural death, your body releases your soul, which it's a much smoother process and stay organic process. Now, if you choose to unalive yourself, your soul is blasting from the body instead of it being vice versa. So just hearing it like that and reading it like that from my logical mind, I'm like, yo, like everybody should understand that. You know? It's like, I don't know. It's something that sticks with me and shit. So
How does
um
understanding that, can you, I'm having, how does understanding that, how would it benefit somebody?
well, it would benefit somebody for not committing unaliving themselves, you know, and living out their life. I feel like everyone wants to tap out with that mindset. You're trying to just tap out. You're trying to escape something that you you actually can't even fix unless you're in the physical world, to my understanding, based on other books. So, you know, doing that and it's just like it's like a major spiritual law. I feel like that every human should know, and like not these laws of the land, right? But like the laws of the universe. Like if you chose to come into this life, which everyone does, you should not choose to exit and tap out before your time, right? Because there's going to be some consequences on the other side too, from my understanding, right? Because you're out of the organic process. So yeah, I feel like, and most people think like I mean I don't know, like I'm just guessing here, but the people that do try to unalive themselves, I feel like they really think that they're gonna escape, you know, from this situation in their human existence and going into the spiritual realm, and they're gonna escape it, but like, and they don't have any sense of like there's an existence outside of this existence as well, you know? That's why
Bro,
I'm
this,
always infatuated.
excuse me, this, I was going to say this hits with what you're saying just a second ago. Like it would benefit them to just allow them to prosper, like just to continue
Hmm.
to try to fix. You said you can only fix what is wrong in this physical world anyways, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is pretty interesting. It says, through the ages, numerous persons and institutions have capitalized on man's ignorance of his former and future lives, thus blinding him through their teachings and dogmas to beliefs which have no scientific or rational support. These beliefs have made a larger class of people into automata and followers of ideas of others. This manner of leadership of people is opposed to the law of evolution. So they've literally created an environment for us to not evolve.
Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. And yeah, this part too I thought was interesting, the Valhalla. These I don't even know what you would call them, but these guys that lived back in this time, they wanted to die with a sword in their hand because they thought that that would make them gods in the spiritual realm. So, yeah, like the Vikings basically is what I read. These Vikings back in the days, it was like it was like glory to go out with the sword in your hand. And you know what's so funny is that when I went to Tulum to go see those pyramids that were built in that part of South America and Mexico, I remember our tour guide had said that those pyramids too are aligned with Orion's belt and all that jazz. But then right there next to the temples and the pyramids was like this old like ancient stadium where they would play some sort of game, right? And as he was telling this story, and people would crowd in just like they do now to watch them play this ancient game, it was like a glory to basically to win and to basically get sacrificed and go out, as a sacrifice. So it's just like I don't know. I feel like the ancients looked at death a little bit differently than our culture does today. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I don't know. Hearing stuff like that, it's just like, damn, that's wild. It's super
They still
wild.
use this today, like honestly, it's a bit maybe political what I'm gonna say, but war under a lot of economic circumstances are as well human sacrifice. And they know about those energy around. It's in the field, it's in the magnetic field. And there is two ways. There's the dark way or the light way. And this is exactly what we're facing today. Like is the light gonna take over the dark? We are really in this like 50-50 time where we can still change something.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? And
Mhm.
I found that part. I'll read this part actually. Because I'm gonna stay on the call, but I gotta start multitasking. I gotta do some things here before I get to my hair appointment this sunrise. But yeah, I'll read it here. You guys can see my screen, right? What does it say here? It says it was popular belief of ancient philosophers that life is death, and further stated that whatever we see when awake is death, and what we see when asleep is a dream. The wise seek release not from the phenomenon of death, but from bondage to ignorance. From ignorance is the most grievous affliction of the soul. This person who fails to do the work on himself will perish like a dog. There comes a time in some people's lives when suicide becomes a consideration, if only for a fleeting moment. There are perhaps rare occasions when suicide may in fact be unavoidable, but it is a highly radical extreme and violation against life law. In natural death, the soul casts off the body, but in suicide, the body casts off the soul. Hence, such an end is termed violent, for the soul is forcibly ejected from its form without the liberation granted by rational procedure. And that was the paragraph passage that just was like, yo, that's like every
Yeah, that's
single
deep.
human should understand that, and we shouldn't have a culture of people, taking themselves out. Because, with this understanding, it's like, damn, we better do the work. And it's like, you're gonna just spin the block. You might be leaving right now. You're about to spin the block and get thrown right back into a human body.
Yeah, bro, that one was deep for sure. Mr. Man, go ahead, but that is all that I have. If you guys don't know about Library of Awakening, right, that's what we're going to be growing here. YouTube's growing. People are loving it. We're showing that we got the information. It's not just about the trading aspect of Cyprex. It's also about the psychological aspect and the growth aspect of the mindset and our innate ability to just supercharge ourselves with our own belief, right? So, Mr. Man, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out, this book club, does this happen every Saturday at I'm gonna say 10 o'clock Central?
Yeah, so if we do it, it'll be probably this time, 10 o'clock Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 11 a.m. Eastern, if we do
Okay,
it.
okay, perfect. Yeah, my wife and I were both listening, and my wife was like, "These are my people. I like this. I like this. This is what I listen to." So I just
Yeah.
want to get that time locked down because she's gonna join me every Saturday for this.
Yeah, and well, I mean, so what we can do too, so we can leave with the homework. I mean, we're not going to spend any more time on this call going over homework, but I'll try to find another book for next week. We spent a little bit too long on this call, and I got to wrap things up. But usually, what we do is we'll pick a book for next week's homework. So maybe on a Zoom call this week, upcoming in the fundamentals weekly calls, we'll take some time at the end of one of those calls, and we'll pick a book for the book club. So with that being said, I'll leave you guys with this. Go into the Library of Awakening section, and just find a book that is of interest to you. It doesn't really matter what book. Open up one of the books, look at the contents, and then recommend that in the book club, and we'll do a vote on it. So maybe I'll give it like 2 or 3 days, so you guys can throw some books in here. I'll make a little post, and people will be able to vote on it, and we'll pick one, and then that'll be our, book for another 2 weeks from now or something like that, and we can all start reading the book or whatever, and then have another one of these conversations. All right. So, just go and float around in the couple of different sections in here. So, like, literally, I'm not even joking, guys and gals. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of books in here. Like books that I get, people can find on the internet, right? People could probably come in here and search every single one of these books. But the thing is you don't know these titles. So how can you search a title if you don't know it, right? That's the power. That's where the power of this comes from, because the only way that you can find some of these books is if you have the titles, right? Some of these books haven't been in print for years, in some cases centuries. Like, it's nuts, some of the books that we have in here from the 1800s. I found a book in here the other day from 1651. Read that shit, it blew my freaking mind, y'all. Holy crap. If you go back farther than the 1700s, read that joint. Read it, because I'm talking about like stuff that'll just blow your mind, right? So come in here, click around in the different sections. It's literally everything: trading psychology, elite agendas, expanding human consciousness, human psychology, ancient wisdom, symbolism. I've been spending so much time in this section. Oh my gosh. Some crazy books in here. Look at these. How would you know to search this? You don't even know what this is. But if you open it, right? The Codex Law, it's like one of the oldest. Look at this. Like, what?
Mayan Bible.
Crazy stuff. And the crazy part is there's a translation of this. Like, this is the actual, rare collection of the codices. But guarantee you could find a translation of this in the book club. So how would you even know? Because I've seen everybody on TikTok, they're like, oh, you could just go download this, and you guys are charging for this. Yeah, it's $50 a month to subscribe to our community, because we take shit serious. This is not a joke, and these books are just extra. But everything else in our community, we got institutional software and tools that cost us $8,000 a month that we give to the members, right? All up in this joint. So it's not just books, it's everything. And you wouldn't know that the book like this exists unless you had the data. And the data's here. Break Free from the Matrix has been dropping data in this community like no other. The Time Machine, look at this. What the fuck? Got the Sphinx on it. H.G. Wells. Nuts. What's in this book? Secret Instructions of the Jesuits. I bet you, look at this book. It's got 1680 on it, 1517. If you're into this stuff, this is such a great section to spend some time in. You guys might not have all the time in the world to read these books, of course, but, just start taking notes, read a chapter. This is just another thing, another dialect that you can commit some time to, instead of, Netflix, or instead of Disney Plus, or instead of, whatever else people are filling their time with nowadays. Go to sleep reading one of these books, or when you're doing cardio, or you go on a walk, or whatever the case may be, or you're driving to work, and you have a second. I don't know, whatever. Just try to incorporate some of this knowledge information instead of aimless scrolling, or, whatever else is that we fill our time with. All right. Blessings to you guys. Be cognizant, be aware out there, and I'll see you guys in this upcoming week. You guys have a good rest of your weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
If you are someone constantly searching for the best books, the rare ones, the ancient ones, the ones that actually change how you think, the Library of Awakening was built for you. Inside CyberX, we've organized a digital collection of over 4,000 powerful and ancient books spanning consciousness, psychology, ancient wisdom, esoteric symbolism, religion, wealth philosophy, global power structures, astrology, symbolism, tarot, sci-fi, and alternative history. This isn't a random archive. It's categorized with intention. Inside, you'll find structured sections like the book club for guided study and discussion, the third eye psychology section for deeper perception and awareness, the human psychology and self-mastery section for behavioral insight and transformation, even ancient wisdom and esoteric symbolism for decoding hidden teachings. We also have expanded consciousness for higher level thought, religion and spirituality for theological and philosophical study, and elite agendas and global power structures for macro awareness, wealth building and economics for foundational understanding, and even astrology, symbols, tarot, sci-fi, and UFO exploration to widen perspectives. Everything inside the Private CyberX Discord is organized for serious readers who want depth, not surface level summaries or trending bestsellers pushed by algorithms. If you're tired of reading what everyone else is reading and you're ready to access books that truly expand awareness, challenge assumptions, and sharpen your thinking, this is where you'll find them. Digitized, structured, and studied inside a focused community of thinkers and like-minded individuals. So, head over to CyberXTrading.com, try out the CyberX Discord for a month, and unlock the Library of Awakening. Dive into the collection, find the books that you've been searching for, and maybe even some ones you didn't even know existed. Welcome to the journey. May this space inspire you to ask questions, explore the unknown, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the Library of Awakening. I know some of the perspectives that I share may be as challenging for you as they once were for me. But isn't that the beauty of exploration? Every perspective, no matter how unconventional, has something valuable to contribute to it if it's shared. Knowledge is not absolute. It's a living, breathing phenomena, shaped and reshaped over time. The important thing is not always be right, but to always be curious. Explore freely, share boldly, and learn deeply. And don't rely solely on others to validate your discoveries. Stand firm in integrity, even in the face of criticism. Remember that growth always means embracing the humility to admit when we're wrong. Learning from our errors is not a setback, it's the very essence of our progress. So, welcome to the journey. May this space inspire you to ask questions, explore the unknown, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the Library of Awakening.